Some major developments both internationally and domestically here as well, with President Biden showing that he's handing off a very strong country. Now, we previously reported here that unemployment is going to be at its lowest levels in 50 years since President Biden took office. The economy created more than 16 million jobs, with jobs being created every single month. And, from our last report, President Biden announced that the economy added about 227,000 new jobs last month, another positive jobs report. In fact, every jobs report since President Biden's taken office has been a positive jobs report. And so the economy here is strong. Also, when you talk about President Biden's initiatives to make more affordable housing as well, President Biden's also announced there that to bring down housing costs, his initiatives have allowed the rate of new housing starts to be up at 16% compared to the last administration. And so, really some of the issues that voters were frustrated with, we're seeing them, the fixes being done by President Biden. It's curious. Also, when you look internationally as well, we all have been reporting on what's been going on in Syria, the fall of Damascus. One of Putin's top allies there, Bashar al-Assad, is now seeking asylum or has received asylum in Russia. His statutes are being pulled down. The rebels have taken over Damascus, and President Biden put out the following statement regarding Syria, which is now free of one of Putin's puppets. There's other issues there, but at least one of Putin's puppets is gone. President Biden says, look, this is the best opportunity in generations for Syrians to forge their own future free of opposition. It's also an opportunity for a more secure and prosperous Middle East, where our friends are safe and our enemies are contained. New opportunities are now opening up for the people of Syria and for the entire region. Looking ahead, the United States will do the following. First, we will engage with Syrian groups, including with the process led by the United Nations, to establish the transition away from the Assad regime toward an independent, sovereign Syria. Second, we will help ensure the stability in eastern Syria, protecting our personnel against any threats. We will maintain our mission against ISIS. Third, we will support Syria's neighbors, including Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, Israel, should any threat arise from Syria during this period of transition. Finally, we will remain vigilant. Let's contrast that to what's Donald Trump been posting. He's been posting things like this. Democrats are fighting hard to get rid of the popular vote in future elections. I don't even know what he's talking about there, just totally lying. There are advertisements on his social media post. Raise a glass to the 47th bulletproof whiskey glasses. He's posting AI images of himself as Moses. He's not sure you want to be posting this while statues are being pulled down in Syria, but he's posting how people are, MAGA cultists are making two-story Trump statues of him. He's posting attacks at the UK Prime Minister and reposting Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then he's advertising colognes and perfumes by stealing the name, image, and likeness of our First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. The contrast cannot be clearer to me. Let me bring in Congressmember Raja Krishnamurthy, ask him about all of that. Congressman, let me just have you react to all of that, what I just showed you.
I should say I'm flabbergasted, but now I think that all of us have become a little bit numb to the self-promotion and the kind of inappropriate posts and statements. Although I have no clue what he's talking about with that fragrance that you just advertised or that you showed he's advertising, but to me it all stinks. And so we'll see where he goes from here.
One of the things that, I showed with some of the statements by President Biden, he's making government function and government work. Now, one of your priorities as a member of Congress, though, has been to, cross-examine, use your pulpit, use the levers of Congress where there have been people who have tried to undermine government from within. That's been a major focus of yours. I know you're about to be questioning Postmaster General DeJoy. People may remember that name. That's a guy from the private sector who hated the post office, was undermining it, Trump brought him in to run the post office and screwed it up in a lot of ways. So tell us about that. Look, I'm interested in the postmaster. I'm interested in your cross-examining him, but there's a broader story here, right, of what we're seeing with Trump, bringing in people whose life mission was to destroy the agencies to run the agencies.
Right. I mean, you look at Kash Patel, for instance. He says that he wants to close down the headquarters of the FBI and make it a museum to the deep state. I mean, that kind of stuff, is very, I don't know, how do I say it? It's very dangerous on many levels. But fundamentally, I think what is going on is that Joe Biden is trying to run through the tape. He's trying to get things done. He's trying to help people. Just today, he had the EPA ban a couple of carcinogenic substances that are found in consumer products that a lot of people are concerned about. Obviously, you saw what happened with Syria last night. So that's what Joe Biden and the Biden administration are trying to do on the one hand. And on the other hand, you see Donald Trump and you see people like Postmaster General DeJoy. Now, Mr. DeJoy came into office in 2020. And since then, this is what has happened, Ben. Service levels have gone down. Postage stamp rates have gone up not once, not twice, 6 times. And on top of that, another thing that's gone up is his compensation. It's gone up like almost 20% during the time that he's been in office as Postmaster General. This is the kind of nonsense that, unfortunately, the American people have to put up with right now. And I'm concerned that we're going to see a lot more of that with the Trump administration to come.
You mentioned the Postmaster General. Another example, I think, is the IRS. President Biden really fixed the IRS, made it work for the American people in the sense that it became efficient. There was an online system that President Biden helped so that the average Joe and Jane could go and file online and access these tools without having to go to very pricey software or pricey accountants. And then Republicans did their fear tactics. 88,000 agents, they're knocking on your doors. Right. They're coming for you. When they misrepresented the facts, Fox played that over and over again. And now what Donald Trump announced is a former colleague of yours, Billy Long, a MAGA Republican congressman whose whole shtick is get rid of the IRS when he's not doing his he was an auctioneer. So yeah, you see the videos of him. A lot of him goes in addition to that, he wants to abolish the IRS. And so who's that go? And he wants to put a 23% tax on everything, a regressive tax, and screw over most Americans, and then give this massive win to the billionaires. And there's an IRS commissioner right now, Danny Werfel, who's there, and they want to fire that guy who's created the efficiencies and bring in the guy to destroy. It's an exact parallel, a corollary to the example you just gave at Postmaster General.
That's exactly right. You didn't talk about Linda McMahon, the WWE executive who's about to take over the Department of Education, which I think Trump and she also want to abolish. And so this is the type of, I understand, I get it. The American people elected Donald Trump. They wanted a change, but I guarantee you they did not want either Matt Gaetz as Attorney General or to abolish the Department of Education or the IRS or these other agencies. And so I think we're going to see very quickly kind of how, Trump's rhetoric on some of these other topics are going to, clash with kind of the reality of how government operates and what the American people really want.
Trump is changing his language. Over the weekend,
Right.
He was interviewed on Meet the Press, and he's asked, all right, so day one, you stated your promise, your campaign promise, for example, was no more war in Ukraine. You were going to stop the unlawful invasion. And his language is, well, I'm trying. I'm going to try to do that. He was asked about, again, his healthcare plan, and he said, I have concepts of a plan. I mean, without even a sense of irony, I have concepts of a plan. Look, Congressman, I just think that there's something about this moment right now. People are pissed. I think perhaps the misread of this moment by the Harris campaign, people didn't want to move forward, is my read. People wanted to blame somebody for who the hell screwed them right now. And Trump was saying it's migrants, it's trans, it's communist, it's deep state. And Democrats were saying, let's move forward. There's greatness on the horizon. We can do it, which maybe is great for Obama, who you've worked with before in 2008, but that may just not be the 2024 moment. People are, who the hell made my egg prices? The price gougers did. Right. Trump's friends did. So how do you message, as we conclude this interview, how do you message that and tap in? One, do you agree with my assessment of where people are, number one? And you may not, but two, how do you tap into that right away on day one and channel it and harness it productively and peacefully and push a positive agenda?
I do agree with you, Ben. I think that we need to meet people where they are, especially economically. And this is what I mean. I think that you're absolutely right about the underlying fundamentals of the economy. However, to say that somebody is paying the same now as what they paid just 4 or 5 years ago for staple items, whether it's groceries, gas, housing, healthcare, education, and the like, would be kind of misdescribing the circumstances, inaccurately kind of recounting to them the state of their affairs. This is what I believe we should be doing. We should be talking about two things. One, how do we lower the cost of these staple items? And two, how do we raise people's real wages? How do we enhance their productivity so that they can really, manage to participate more in the prosperity of this country? With regard to lowering costs, I think we have to be very frank. We need more competition in many different markets, whether it's big tech with big tech or whether it's in the grocery chain industry, which is basically controlled by 4 or 5 conglomerates. We need more people in the labor force. That means we need more legal immigration. We have to talk about that. We also need to educate our people better. That means we need to upgrade their skills, and that means investing in career, technical, and vocational education, as well as making 4-year colleges more affordable. Those are the types of issues that we need to tackle, namely lowering the costs of living, raising people's wages, and really getting on the up escalator of the economy. That's where I'd like to see us kind of focus more of our energies. And then finally, contrasting what we're doing with what the Trump administration is about to do, which you so eloquently described. We've got to be very quick to hold them accountable to their promises and show contrast between what they're doing versus what we're doing.
Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, we're going to keep having you on over the course of the next several years. And, I know you're going to be fighting hard to take back that majority in the House in 2 years. And the fight starts now. So we're going to be following that each and every step of the way.
Thank you, Ben.
Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram @MidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.